Oh, my man, Luke Rockhold. I guess, no, it's not my man. It's your man.
He's my
Luke
man.
Rockhold asked for a release from the UFC. They granted him that release. Now, that was after he said he retired.
Yeah.
What's that?
Which is kind of strange to me because I didn't think that they would
I
let
think
him go.
it's right, and good for the UFC for doing it. It's the right thing to do. They were done with him as far as, they gave him, Paulo Costa in that last fight. I loved the fight, actually, as far as the drama of the fight. I thought, obviously Paulo Costa was, definitely ahead in that fight. When the post-fight where they not only interviewed Paulo, they interviewed Luke, and what he said, I think for one time that I've ever watched Luke, been around Luke, he got the people on his side. He got the crowd on his side. He made people understand that, man, how much this meant to him and, how he was feeling. And I loved it. And they gave him his release. That means that he can go wherever he wants. He says he wants to fight. He says he's feeling good. Do you really think it's a good thing for him to continue to fight?
I think that there's options on the table that he can make a lot of money. I could see him, I'm being honest, and whether I think it's a good fight for him or not, I could see, because he lives in Costa Mesa, I could see the potential of him in a Jake Paul fight. I could see that fight. I could see him in a Logan Paul fight. I could see that fight happening. I would say he'd have a better chance of beating Logan than Jake because Jake's taking this real serious, but I could see that fight happening. And also too, Logan and him are about the same size. Jake's a little bit smaller, but Jake's the better boxer. But give Luke some time. Give Luke time on working just strictly his boxing without having to worry about the wrestling, the kicking, all of those things. But his greatest attribute is
I was going to say, those are his best attributes, and so don't worry about those.
I understand that. But he likes to box. He likes to work with Perillo. He likes to work with Camacho and the guys in his strength and conditioning. Those are all guys that have worked with Gennady Golovkin and other top boxers. So he gets into that realm of working and training with those guys. That's kind of where I think he's leading to. Now I do know he's coming to the Bellator event on CBS next week at the Forum. I know he'll be there. He reached out to me, asked me if I was going to be there, and I said yeah. And so he said, I'll be there, so make sure you come down, or can I come up and say hi? And I was like, absolutely. He's going to be he'll be sitting there front row. There's a lot. The reason why he wanted to go, he's like, I want to see how good Johnny Eblen is. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's talk and conversation. I don't know what any of that means, but he just said he wants to see how good the champ is, Johnny Eblen. He's like, all I've heard is good things. Kid's good. He's like, and I know he's fighting someone tough, so I want to be there in person to see how good these guys are. I'm like, all right. So we'll see. I mean, who knows? He may want to come over. He may not. I don't know. He hasn't told me that yet. Yeah, all I said is he's interested to see what the talent level is in person, which is good, which makes for fun conversation.
Sure. Absolutely it does. But it comes back to that old saying of be careful what you wish for.
The guy that I want to see him fight the most, man, just to be honest, I don't care if he fights the young and up-and-comers. I want to see him fight Gegard Mousasi.
I would love that.
That's the fight.
I agree.
That's the fight to see.
I'm not worried about the championship fight. I would love to see Gegard and Luke. It would be a fun fight. It would be really.
Absolutely.
They match up so well. Their strengths are the same. It would be interesting. Interesting as hell.
Yeah.
But we'll
Dave,
see.
Can you pull up the Bellator 85 pound bracket or the division? Yeah, if I'm looking at this in the 85 pound, right? Him and Salter, him and Dalton Ross. I mean, that's Dalton Ross is a young up and comer. Lorenz Larkin and him would be a fun fight, just because they're both stand up guys. Lorenz a little bit small for him, to be honest.
No, Lorenz fought it. I understand what you're saying. Is frame wise, Luke has got a bigger frame. Yeah, Lorenz has fought at light heavyweight. He's fought at middleweight. He's fought at welterweight. Lorenz his speed is a problem for people, and it's a matter of, that's a fight where I look and say, who fights the smart fight?
Yeah. What about Fabian Edwards? Ranked number 2 right now.
I'll tell you, see, that to me is a fight. Again, you got to fight the right fight. You got to fight the smart fight. But Fabian Edwards against Luke, I'll tell you what, if Luke fights a smart fight, it's going to be a tough fight for Fabian Edwards. Mm-hmm. But they match up well. Fabian's got great stand-up. He's got dynamic kicks, same as Luke. His wrestling is his weakest area, which he's gotten better at. He thought he was, he was at that level. He could stop anyone. He realized after, guys like Vanderford was able to take him down at basically in the end at will. Maybe your wrestling is not at the level you were putting it at, and you've got to improve.
Yeah. I mean, there's some fights in there that I'm interested in seeing him do, and I think if he did sign with Bellator, there's still an option for him to box. I think that'll be still out there. I think they'll be 100% okay with it. With the Jake Paul thing being with the PFL now, I don't know how real his boxing category now is going to be. Is he going to continue to push the boxing, or is he going to work more on the MMA? He's got the Tommy Fury
fight, supposedly.
Yeah, apparently he does have that from what I understand.
Just in February, right?
Yeah, I think they already announced it again.
Is that February 20? I don't know. I want to say 25th, but could be wrong.
Anyways, we'll see. We'll see who wins that fight. We'll see. But back to Luke Rockhold. I think there's fights there, but the Gegard fight for sure interests me. The Fabian Edwards fight interests me. Maybe down into the Aaron Jeffries and then the Anthony Adams. Those ones interest me, and Lorenz Larkin. He won't fight Romero with their training partners.
No.
But there's some fights in there that do interest me though.